You're acting like an option. She knows it. See, you probably think she randomly pulled away. You think she randomly lost interest. You probably think she got confused, right? Let's keep it real, not for real though. But the truth is that she adjusted to your position, how you presented yourself. I'm gonna say that again. She adjusted to how you positioned yourself. Let me explain why. If you get nervous when she goes quiet, you're canceling plans now. You're sending a couple more texts because she hasn't responded as fast. You're over-explaining certain situations that doesn't really need to be clarified. She knows that you're going to go work out with the guys, or she knows that you're about to go do this, and you're telling her the details on it. You're kind of letting her know who you're with, what time you'll be back. She didn't ask that, nor does she need to know that. You might be thinking you're showing effort, you're trying to maintain a healthy relationship, but what you're actually showing her is that you're afraid to lose her. She senses that instantly because fear is loud, even when you don't say it. And I want you to understand this too. Don't take it too personal. Don't get in your feelings right now. Start barking in the comments. I want you to understand this, because this is how, the quicker you realize this, the more easier it gets. And I'm going to explain to you why and how they detect this type of behavior. You have to understand is that women don't just monitor what you say. They observe shifts in behavior. She notices it instantly, and they're always monitoring. You might not think so, but they do. If your tone changes when she replies late, you're ghosting responses now because she took a couple hours. Maybe she was busy. Or maybe you're doing the opposite. You're double texting now when she didn't answer. You become extra. You're agreeing a little bit too much more than you're not having a definitive answer. Like you disagree with that topic or that statement, and you're just overly agreeing because you want her to feel good, or you want her to know that, oh yeah, whatever you say goes. That's already a bad habit to pick up on. And if you're doing that, you need to understand, because I used to do this too when I was younger. And when you try to be that guy that you're trying to agree with her everything she's saying, you want her to, you're trying to express that, you know, we're aligned, we have the same mindset. Don't do that, because it's okay to have your own opinion. It's okay to have your own mindset, right? Like you're your own person. Like God made you for a reason. Like you are you. The relationship doesn't have to be compatible in the aspect of that everything she says or everything she does has to be agreeing with you. You can have your own sense of direction. You can statements. If you disagree with what she said, you don't gotta agree with that. That's what makes you a man. That's what makes you stand on it, because you have your own perspective and you share that. You express that differently. Relationship doesn't have to always be, oh, he doesn't agree with this topic, or he doesn't like what this said on this topic, and she's going to leave you. No. The point is to enlighten each other. The point is to share knowledge, right? To have disagreements. That's healthy. That's okay. The moment you lower your standards subtly, you're moving different. Maybe your past relationship, you were always arguing, so now you're like, you know what, going into this new relationship with her, and maybe she's more attractive, like, let me not argue as much, let me not say what I feel, let me not express because eventually that will reveal itself down the line, years later or months later, when you start being more expressive, when you start getting more comfortable, when you think she'll let me say whatever. That's why it's always good, and I always say to just start off the get-go in a relationship, or when you're talking, let her know straight up how you feel, what your position is on certain topics, and how you want this to go. If you start bringing this up a little bit later, you're going to see a shift. And you're going to see her, because you weren't being transparent at first. This mistake is subtle, and this is how many men end up losing themselves or end up losing her, because they were acting completely different from the get-go. From the beginning, they were trying to please, or they were trying to make her happy. They were trying to say everything right to appease her standards, or because they're not positioning themselves as the pursuer. Immediately, when you do things like that, when you start changing different, you talk about this topic with the guys, you're going into arguments, you're acting all tough, like masculine, right? But then when you're with her, it's like, oh yeah, you're right, babe. Like, you know what I mean? Like, right? I know, like, but it's like you don't have that same energy, your fully authentic self, right? You disagree on that, what she said, but you want to agree with her. Why? Because you want her? Because maybe you haven't been in a relationship in a long time? You try and get some? Like, what is it? But you have to understand, when you do stuff like that, you are putting yourself as the option. Because that tells her one thing: he needs this more than I do. When she feels that, the dynamic will change instantly. She may say it to you, she may not, she might start moving differently. This is when you will slowly start to see the leverage shift out of your favor. Because attraction requires tension. As much as you don't want to admit it, it does. Not games, not manipulation, but tension. Healthy tension. Tension comes from uncertainty, self-control, standards, indifference to outcomes. When she knows that you're locked in no matter what, there's no tension. There's no risk. And without risk, how can there ever be a reward? There's no sense of urgency. In that moment, you start to become safe. And you will slowly start to realize that safety, or being too safe, ends up becoming boring in her eyes. Let me give you an example of how this looks like in reality. What being an option or looking like an option is. It doesn't necessarily say that you are weak, right? Being an option doesn't make you weak. It means that you're overly available. You are saying things to make her happy that she knows that you kind of don't really agree with, but you are, and she senses that. Maybe you over-invested a little bit too early. You're rewarding inconsistency. This is a very dangerous one, because when you notice her not giving you the same type of love or energy back to you, you are giving her high praises, you are communicating in a timely manner, but she responds to when she feels like it. She will hit you with the, I'm busy, I had to go do this with the girls, this, that. Oh yeah, we went out with girls' night, but when you say you're going out with the guys' night, she's asking you 10,000 questions, but you don't ask her these questions because you're kind of afraid, you don't want to off-put her. This, you have to understand, when you start doing things like this, and you probably don't tell the guys, you don't tell anybody about this, right? But this is what's going on behind closed doors. You are positioning yourself as the option. She is the one in charge. Do you not realize it? And she knows that, and she will manipulate it to her advantage. I promise you. She may not consciously think that, but she feels it. Women respond to emotional positioning, and I've always mentioned, you know this already, that women are more emotional. Us men, our strengths are in other avenues, where we are naturally more gifted in strength and fitness and this, that. They are more in tune with their emotions, right? So you have to understand that they will use that to their advantage. They think more. Not saying that guys don't think, right? A lot of smartest people are guys too, and women as well too. But you have to understand, they will use their emotions to their advantage. That's why you will see her act this way or act sad to get you to do something. Or have you not realized that in life? You have realized that, right? Maybe fake tears, this, that, because that's their strength. So when you do this, you position yourself beneath her. In order to stop acting like an option, in order to stop or maybe change the dynamic of the relationship, of how it's going, you need to first stop chasing reassurance. You need to stop chasing mixed signals. You need to stop over-explaining or explaining your worth. You have to focus on your life. You have to stop adjusting your behavior to maintain access. Does that make sense? That goes to say your mission, your discipline, your standards. These type of things should never be broken for any female, for any woman. They should be joining you on this journey. When they come into your life, this should be like, hey, this is what I'm about. She has to accept it. If she doesn't, that doesn't mean you break your back to fit her or abide by her rules. Because it might seem good, it might seem compatible to do it off the get-go, or to please her, because you want to make this work, and relationships require sacrifices. I get all that, but you're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking about how this will play out, because when you initially do this, she's going to think that months later, years later, that she can just keep doing this to you. If she doesn't like a habit you're doing, or she doesn't like you going to the gym or doing your side business, or whatever it is, she can just say, hey, like, you know, you're giving too much time away from me. This is where fights lead. This is where, so it's like, why deal with all this later on? Why not be direct and be fully authentic right now and let her know straight up? Don't be scared that she might pull away. That's fine. You should never be in that position where you think, oh, if I don't do this, then she would. It should always be, hey, you don't want to be part of this? Bye. Peace. Like, I don't get this today, and men these days are like, it confuses me how it seems like I'm the only outcast. Like how I just, and it doesn't affect me. Like literally, when I tell a woman that they're not feeling it, I just cut things off, they naturally want to come back, or they apologize, or because I'm not gonna break my back, or I'm not gonna change my habits to make you happy. Because my habits got me to where I'm at today. You need to understand that. If you're successful, your habits, that shapes who you are. My mindset, I'm not gonna let you come into my life and try to rewire my mind to fit your agenda. Your habits, your discipline, that's what makes you attractive. That's what got you to the success you're at, right? That's what, or it's leading you to the success you want to be at. So when you abide and when you try to play these games or try to fit her, whatever it is, like, you literally set yourself up for disaster. So if she pulls away, if she doesn't want to listen or she doesn't agree, you don't panic, you don't start arguments, you just observe. And then if she wants to test you, you just don't react. It's simple. Just hold your frame and just be same guy. It's very simple. I don't get how guys can make this, like, if she becomes inconsistent, you reduce availability, you reduce access. How is that difficult? Right? Not emotionally, but strategically. Now she can't really get a hold of you. Now she can't, this is not games, right? I see some dorks, some idiots saying that, oh, women don't test. Like, man, stop listening to these idiots. Right? I'm telling you from someone who actually be with women, who actually knows how to attract women in real life, right? Without flexing, without money, like literally just by my presence. I'm not the tallest, I'm not the short. I'm literally like, it's just me. I don't change, I don't bend, I don't care what they talking about. I'm gonna do me. And me doing me has got me to where I'm at, has made it very easy with women. But I struggled with it early on. That's why I share these. The harsh truth that many guys don't want to hear, and many will take offense or get in their feelings about, is that you don't lose women because you're not good enough. You don't lose women because you're not good enough. At times, we lose women because we showed that we're afraid to lose them. Do you understand the difference between the two? Like, when you are afraid to lose her, you start moving different. You start abiding by her rules. And when I say abide by her rules, I'm meaning you're changing your behaviors, you're changing your habits, you're changing your tone, you're changing what you say to her to not offend her maybe, or not to disagree with her, to start arguments, or nah. You cannot do that. You cannot do any of that. The moment she feels that, she thinks she has the power. And when she has the power, you become the option. So now you're the one, you're part of her life. She's not really joining you in your journey, in your life. You're on her, like, you're on the sidelines, or better yet, you're just someone that she can just replace just like that. You don't need to play games. You don't need to manipulate. You just need to stop presenting yourself as disposable, if that makes sense. That equates to calm, controlled, unbothered. That's leverage. And when you carry leverage, you have the control. You remain calm. You have the power. When you have leverage, you're no longer an option. You're the priority. Remember, when you carry the leverage, you're no longer the option. You're the priority. So start moving like it, start acting like it, start thinking like it. Don't change up your behaviors. Don't change up your routines. Don't break your back. Don't make sacrifices that are not needed, in better terms. You are the one up here. Not saying that she has to be down here, but you are the leader. You are the man. You bring a lot to the table. I don't know how many times I have to keep saying this. A lot of guys I see in the comments sometimes are confused, not understanding what I say when I say don't react. If you want to react, please go ahead and you will find out. You will find out, right? If you want to listen to me, stay calm. Like, how can me saying stay calm, don't react, offend you? How can that make you? That shows the type of man you are. That shows that you don't have it all together. That shows that you're a mess. Because you don't understand, it doesn't process in your mind to stay calm. Don't react. You're the type that you probably crash out. You're the type that, for any disrespect, that's what goes to show that many men today, in today's age, need to learn martial arts. Because I've been doing this since I was 5. That's why I stay calm. That's why I preach this. That's why I don't let things get to me. Sneak this, that. It doesn't bother me. Because they will never say it to my face. Never. Because they know what will happen. So you have to understand that not everything deserves your reaction. Not everything deserves you crashing out over. Especially when it comes to females. I'm talking about this in life in general. But once you break your character, once you start letting things get into your head then you start making comments in the comment section saying, what do you mean don't react? What do you mean? I don't get it. You don't get it because you're not thinking clearly. Because your mind is not where it needs to be. You don't meditate every day. You don't pray. You don't stay calm. You don't have love in your heart. Stay calm. Everything doesn't need to be an argument. Especially with the female. What are you arguing for? Think about it. Even with conflict with guys, learn how to understand to master your emotions. Nothing should be taking you out of your character. Nothing should be taking you out of your focus. Once you give people, you have to understand, when you see idiots talking about crashing out, it's always these dudes that have too much testosterone. That's what I've come to realize. That take TRT or take stupid ass shit. That think they're masculine, think they're helping you become masculine. That's not masculine. Masculine is real masculine. Real masculinity is staying calm, staying unbothered, staying on your mission, staying focused, right? Providing for your family, helping others, being a good person. Because your time here is limited on earth. You can't be crashing out, me-mugging people, doing this because of what people say. It is what it is. You can only control what you can control. Focus on what you can control in life. What you can control is yourself. Stay at peace. Stay calm. You don't need to always crash out. You don't need to always argue. What are you arguing for? Especially with the woman. She doesn't like what you got to say, then just keep it moving. I make these videos to help out. Give my perspective. If you don't want to, then go do what you got to do. Go do what you want to do. But don't come over here on my channel where I've started from the beginning talking about self-improvement, trying to help people see the perspective I have in my life. I'm a second-degree black belt, right? I can easily go and start arguing with people, start for any disrespect, someone bumps me, this, that. I can just crash out and I can make an example out of them. But why? That shows that I have no discipline. That shows that I have no clarity. That shows that I'm a weak man. You're a weak man if you let your emotions get the best of you in any situation. I always mention, not only will females try you, but life will try you. You'll be tested in life. The men that get triggered when I say that shows that they have no emotional control, no emotional discipline, no emotional intelligence. Trying to act this masculine when they're not, right? Taking TRT, taking this, trying to show off, trying to give off the image while me, someone like me, who understands to control their emotions. That's real masculinity. When nothing can get you out of your vision, when nothing can get you out of your mind, when nothing can because what you give your attention to, I hope you understand this. This is free life advice I'm going to give you so you guys can be successful. Don't listen to idiots telling you to crash out. You need to understand that what you give your attention to is how your life will orchestrate around. I'm gonna end it with this. In this world, the most powerful currency is attention. That's why there's social media. That's why there's this advertisement. That's why you think of something or you talk about something. Maybe your phone was around. Next thing you know, you go scroll something. You see an advertisement about what you were talking about. Or better yet, you weren't even talking about it on the phone. You were thinking it. Why is that? You don't get it yet, do you? Many of you guys do know what I'm saying. You just, you thought about it, then you just forgot about it the next minute. You just, coincidence, right? No, my boy. What you give your attention to. In this world, what they want the most out of you is your time, one, but also your attention. Because what they can get you to focus on is what helps them in business, what helps them in sales. That's why they're always advertising certain things. Remember that, man. Clarity of mind, discipline, emotion. You got this. Don't overthink it. I'll catch you guys on to the next one, man. It'll be easy. If you guys like this video, be sure to leave a like, comment, share this video with somebody who needs to see this, and watch this video up next.